Hello no one, and welcome back to reading SCP files, where instead of having a giant white cube on my second monitor, I instead just have Audacity, because it brightens my face up well enough. And doesn't blind me. That's a plus. So, in this video, we are going over the database, which I mistook for the legacy, somehow, which means either they are very similar, or the more likely option is the fact that I thought of the database first instead of the legacy when thinking about, well, numbers and corruption, because well, I think it's obvious. That being said, I remember absolutely nothing about the database other than its name. So this is kinda going to be a blind reaction again. I might actually remember something halfway through it, but just have to see. And see we will, because, well, item number is SCP-001, who would have thought, but the object class is Keter. And I'm guessing that's more of keep humans away from it, instead of it away from humans. But how? We'll just fucking read. Special containment procedures. There is no means to contain SCP-001 yet found that does not risk a potential ZK class reality failure scenario. Shit. And subsequent destruction of the observable universe. It got worse as the sentence went along. See Containment Protocol ZK-001 Alpha. Current procedures are limited to the absolute containment of information regarding SCP-001. No data regarding the nature or description of SCP-001 shall be provided to any personnel with the sole exception of the senior member of O5 Command, that being O5. I can only assume one? Unless for some reason they're turning into algebra and included letters in it. Oh, fuck. Why do I have my hands like this? Do I subconsciously remember something and now I'm just praying that it doesn't come back and... All data collected in regard to SCP-001 shall be stored in an encrypted form via redacted, with the description key split into thirds. Each member of O5 Command shall memorize 1/3, and only 1/3, of the description key. Data shall only be decrypted on a network-isolated eyes-only terminal to be read only by the senior member of O5 Command, then only after unanimous consent of O5 Command. Okay, leaking of data about SCP-001 through espionage, telepathic leakage. I feel like that wouldn't be on purpose, but oh well. Original research, or redacted, must be contained by any and all means available to the Foundation. The senior member of O5 Command has the one person with authorized knowledge about SCP-001 is the final arbiter on containment. Foundation personnel of level 2 or higher who discover data about SCP-001 in the course of their normal duties may be given a Class A amnestic? I'm assuming it would be an amnesia drug, so I'm gonna say amnestic, after debriefing rather than being terminated. This is subject to O5 approval on a case-by-case basis. Usually they would just kill them. I think it would just be a thing of suspicion rose about their death, and that would cause people to get curious, and some of them would probably get to the idea of SCP-001 being the reason they died, and they therefore would look into it, causing more casualties, so... That's the only reason I can think of as to why they would just make them forget it instead of killing them. Because usually they just kill them, so... description. Data expunged. God fucking damn it. Oh. It's not as long as I thought it was, unless... Oh, okay. Oh. Okay, we'll get to those in a second. Addendum. Containment Log 001 Alpha. Date is... I'm assuming this is day, month, year, by the looks of it, so... January 12th, 19-something-something. Incident. Documents appear on internet site redacted, servers seized, and authors traced to redacted. Resulting explosion explained as gas leak. Monitoring has not shown any further propagation of documents. So that had to be the 90s. Because, like, computers were, what, mainstream... They're starting to get mainstream late 80s, right? So that had to be 90s. I would assume that would have to have been someone in the organization that had leaked that. Because there was no way that someone would be like, hey, I'm just going to hack into this completely fucking secret company and be like, hey, here's all the shit they do. That's pretty much just obvious. Why am I debating this? Unless they want to make me think that it wasn't someone on the outside. That they're so weak. I really need to get a beard so this actually works, don't I? Date is March 31st, 19-something. Incident. Script with possibly compromising information optioned? Sure. For protection by redacted. Pictures. Original scriptwriter, redacted. Agents. Successfully replaced script with one rewritten without redacted. Film is produced with title redacted. And grosses $27 million in its opening weekend. Why is that a detail included? Surely it would be better to just not include that detail, like it was produced under a different title and made a decent amount of money. Why is that? Okay, March, April, May, June 19th, 19-something. Incident. Novel outline describing redacted. Submitted to redacted by best-selling author redacted. Attempt to neutralize author unsuccessful. Leading to high-profile hospitalization. Okay. 05 authorizes the use of Class A amnestic to prevent more attention to case. Outline recovered and destroyed. Oh, it's just getting more glitchy. I was very confused. Why would the A be redacted there? Date is May 20th redacted, 20 redacted Z. Usually it's an X when it's an unknown future, but oh well. Incident. Foundation research discov. So I'm guessing that this is someone hacking into the thing and getting the information. What is the database exactly? Like, is it just a bunch of information on a computer, or is it like papers? I mean, I guess I will never know. Unless this says, because, yeah, that's quite long. Let's see. Ask yourself if you want to know. If the answer is no, then you need to stop reading now. If you go and report this unauthorized file to your superiors, at contrite, sure, and claim that you only read to this paragraph, you might get away with a Class A amnestic, if you're lucky. And if the O5s aren't particularly paranoid at the moment. So you want to know what SCP-001 is. The first answer is that it was a placeholder, a theoretical designation for the prime cause, the ultimate reason for all the paranormal crap we deal with on a daily basis. SCP-001 is why we have to deal with these omnicidal reptiles, ever-expanding rooms, extra-dimensional pools of red goop, and consumer products that don't obey the normal laws of physics. Of course, given that all these things, as dangerous and deadly and just plain insane as they are inherently patternless and self-contradictory. Most researchers are convinced that there is no possible unifying principle for them all, much less a common source. They're wrong. There's more than one reason that cross-testing is discouraged, and the O5s even look down on excessive cross-referencing of SCPs. The O5s don't want any one group looking at more than a handful of these things at once, because of what they discovered when the Foundation tried to develop a grand unified theory of SCPs. That research is mostly gone now. Site-001 Alpha, was dismantled, scrubbed from the archives. The staff mind wiped and reassigned. No one left but me, and I wouldn't know anything if it wasn't for my habit of not trusting the Foundation servers and having my own hidden personal archive of the O5 that the O5s missed in their panic. I was a data analyst at Site-001 Alpha. Note to O5 Command. Don't bother looking for me. I finished the job you started. The identities of all former staff at Site-001 Alpha have been completely scrubbed from the records. You know as much as they do now. and I participated in the first and only attempt to consolidate all Foundation data on all SCPs. Okay, so it was just a theory. Okay, no. I was in charge of the data integrity, and as much of a mess as you might think that was, it was an order of magnitude worse. Forget the memetic SCPs, or the ones that modify their own description, or the ones that seem to only inhabit in info space and slip into the database to wreak havoc. That's all SOP? SOP, whatever that means. For anyone... Yeah, I have no idea what it means. For anyone who works with the Foundation's network, just a matter of scale. Worse were the completely inexplicable, unexpected changes in data. Sorry, that was wrong. Even though I can't help thinking of it that way. It isn't a change in data when reality is shifting to match. I don't know a lot about the internals of the software we used, but I know that part of it ran outside what we were thinking of as the real world. And at first, everyone thought that the audit trails it produced were some sort of bug. However, it became apparent that the nature of the software, its purposeful isolation from the narrative affecting SCPs, allowed it to record something far more important. So it's basically taking the idea that life is just a simulation, and what changes in the database changes reality, by the looks of it. It's not visible to you or the O5s, or to even most of the SCPs we deal with. But the Foundation, and by extension the entire universe, is in a state of constant shifting reality flux. That would explain earlier. SCP files appeared and disappeared from our database with alarming regularity, and the SCPs referred to all appearance, appeared and disappeared along with them. Not just SCPs, but personnel, whole sites, and entire decades of the Foundation's history would be rewritten, seemingly at random. And our own memories, all external research would confirm that objective reality matched the current version in our database. Alright. One of the researchers told me that it was as if we were seeing the effect of something like SCP-140. Don't know that one. Only much larger in scale. Yeah, something a lot like SCP-140. Infinitely larger in scale. I don't know who did the analysis, and if I did, I wouldn't say. She's probably a lot happier not knowing about her own discovery. But she looked at what vanished and what appeared, and what subtly changed in the records. She found the pattern, the drift towards darkness, towards narrative coherence, toward a plot. Everyone who works any length of time at the Foundation knows the universe we live in is a seriously fucked up place. Fucking cheers to that one. Someday this will actually be alcohol. Won't be any day soon. Those of us who still believe in God tend towards serious ambivalence about his handiwork. But we found out that there is a God, and it is SCP-001, and it's a bunch of horror writers. Okay. The fuck?
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
It would have to be on a computer, wouldn't it? Because if it was physical, that means that files would literally be disappearing out of existence and new ones would be appearing, which kind of doesn't really... It doesn't really make sense. He says reading a fucking SCP file. God damn it, how often am I going to fucking say that? Isn't SCP-140 the computer? Because I know there's a computer in a containment breach. I'm not entirely sure about SCP-Unity. It was actually discontinued because of some health problems by the lead developer, I believe. Which fucking sucks, but... oh well. There was a computer in containment breach, I do know that. As well as... the multiplayer game, what was that called? Secret Laboratory, that's what it was called. There was also the computer in that. Is that 140? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. We still have a little bit to read, so we'll get through that and actually talk about the SCP. Dindum, Emergency Containment Protocol ZK001 Alpha, 05 eyes only. Note, Containment Protocol ZK001 Alpha carries a non-zero risk of creating a ZK class reality failure scenario. Use should only be authorized in an attempt to mitigate an end-of-the-world scenario or the imminent destruction of the Foundation. Research at Site-001 Gamma has conducted narrative analysis of SCP-001's changes to the observable universe. Conclusions are that SCP-001 consists of multiple entities showing cognitive patterns that are indistinguishable from human, and that these entities are therefore susceptible to mimetic effects. Since prior experiments have shown information feedback via the SCP data warehouse, a possible method of attack and/or control has been developed. Protocol ZK001 Alpha, when initiated, will cause a software viral insertion of a variety of mimetic kill agents into the SCP database, which, through the observed information feedback, should expose SCP-001 to the mimetic effects of these agents. I believe I'm saying that correct. Like, mimetic? That sounds correct, I know. The protocol ZK001 Alpha consists of 3 stages. Mimetic agents inserted to promote calm and/or well-being, agents inserted to promote sleep, unconsciousness, or catatonic, I know that one, agents inserted to cause death. So I'm assuming that's increasing stages depending on how they react. You better hope those work. Given the nature of SCP-001 and our limited interaction with it, it is not possible at this time to safely test Protocol ZK001 Alpha, and it is unknown if the universe can continue to exist without interaction with SCP-001. So essentially, hey, the entire universe kinda fucking got created around this in, like, one thing, and now it's in control of humans. Rather, not in control of humans, but in the hands of humans. On one Earth. In a sea of quite literally billions. Who the fuck decided that? There's the motherboard. Again, I'm thinking about it like this SCP is the true 001. That's how I'm going into all of these analysis at the end of the videos. So if this is truly 001, then that would mean that computers would have to have either exist for long before humans, which would make sense because, again, the motherboard does exist. But, at the same time, if it wasn't created at a similar time to the motherboard, then that would mean that humans would have somehow created it. Or at least, like, when they started filing the SCPs on a computer and created the database, somehow it's constantly changing. Oh, that cross-referencing, I think that's just to avoid like multiple SCPs being included in one file, then that file possibly being erased, and so along with that file, those SCPs that were being mentioned. I think that's why that's sort of disallowed. The question is, it's written as if someone had written this beforehand and placed it into the file. But then there's this part that's just like acting as if it was being typed out to the person reading it in real time. There's a note to 05 command, but then why, if 05 had seen this, why wouldn't they just sort of get rid of this entire bit? That's actually kind of a plot hole. Actual, wait, what? Again, it's a proposal, it cannot be true whatsoever. What if it is? Then that would raise the question, seriously, why have the 05 command not, like, gotten rid of this part? It just seems kind of weird to me that it's like, oh, we gotta keep any and all the information about 001 under lock. We cannot let anyone know anything about it. Hey, yeah, there was a production that we had to sort of switch out the scripts, and it was titled something that's probably easily deductible on its own. Not only that, but we also told you exactly how much it grossed in the opening weekend, because why, that just seems counterproductive. Like, yeah, we gotta keep any and all information away, and then you tell us quite a bit of information that could easily be deducted. Like, I don't understand. And then there's like a novel outlining, like that's a bit too much information. Like, I feel like this should be under a lock much more than like this. Like, it's setting up a good idea that it's a database that constantly is changing and getting rid of SCPs, adding new SCPs. Like, that's a good idea. But then it says that we must keep all information under lock, and then doesn't follow that. Like, you're telling two different fucking narratives here. Or not narratives, but like two different ideas of keeping it under lock while also telling us information. Like, I think that's just putting it in a tough situation naturally. Because you gotta give information so people who are reading it are interested, which, people are indeed interested in it, but at the same time, in universe, doesn't make sense. I'm saying all this like someone actually gives a fuck. Well, I do, but nobody gives a shit about me, so in turn, nobody gives a shit about my opinion. But that being said, that's still a factor of the SCP. I'm granted there is also the fact that giving a little bit more information to make people think, wow, they're giving a bit too much information, this is obviously fake, could be a reverse psychology thing of they're giving too much information, therefore it's fake, despite it being the true 001. Because a lot of 001 proposals so far have sort of given a bit more information than they probably should have, but they're all kind of following the same pattern, actually. Or at least a good chunk of them. Because, like, they're an interesting idea that could be a 001 proposal, that is believable, that has a bit of science behind it, I guess, to make it even that little bit more believable. But they also give, like, a bit more information than they probably should, which could lead to the idea that, hey, it's obviously fake, or the possibility that someone could look into it, find out that it's fake, or find out that it's true. But more often that probably won't be true. Basically what I'm saying is that they all sort of follow the same pattern. And that could be due to the fact that they were given like a similar template, or at least a similar command, saying create a proposal for 001 and it must have these details in it. Or at least like this general idea for details in it. That being believable concept, but also a bit of information that would be like, oh, this is obviously fake. Though at the same time, would they really take that chance? Because people could easily look into that. Like, yeah, this data is redacted, but still, 19-something after the first incident, so probably, hell, I could probably look this up myself. Jesus Christ, sometimes I forget that Star Wars was originally released in the 70s. Okay, so there's only one movie that was released in the 1900s that grossed around 27 million, and that would be Beverly Hills Cop 2. Doesn't exactly match the title. Like, I can only assume that that would be able to be unlocked by the 05 command, seeing this is what the movie was, so if you're looking for information, that's what it was. But there's literally no other movie that has a similar naming style than that also earned around 27 million. So either one part of this is lying, which would not be surprising, or this is obviously fake. And some may be saying that I'm thinking too much into this, but at the same time, the best lies are told with a hint of truth. So, if you're not willing to at least do a little bit of research into this shit, and you mention a detail like that, you're gonna get called out for being fake. At least this proposal will be, so I literally just called out a piece of fiction for being fake. This is what my life is right now. I would not have it any other way. My mug is empty. God damn it. Well, I preferably have it with milk, but, you know, I'll take this. It is actually rated quite highly, and I think that's just due to the simple fact that it's a really good idea. Database that's constantly changing, deleting SCPs, creating new ones. That's a really good idea. But there are just a few things that are catching my eye that's sort of setting me off, so I don't think that highly of it. My voice is actually kind of going, so I'm just going to end this video off here. Thank you all for watching. I shall catch you in the next one, which shall be, I believe, the first one that I have not read. Oh wait, no, the Foundation. I have read that one. 36, I don't think I've read that one. And if not, then I definitely have not read Ouroboros. So we're getting closer to even more, well, pure blind territory. My voice is really starting to go. Okay, I shall catch you in the next video, whenever that shall be. See ya. I'm in.